Have you ever connected with someone on LinkedIn, Instagram, Threads, and immediately were like, this is my type of person? Well, with Santana, that was exactly what happened. She posted about the women in workplace study from McKinsey, and I couldn't hold back. I gave my own take on it, and her response was, "Are we best friends now?" And I'm like, "Yes, we are, and we need to talk about it on a future podcast episode," which is what we're doing today. Santana is the founder of the Glow Initiative, and we dive into what they're up to, what she's looking at, and we talk about a lot of stuff about the systemic issues in corporate and in the coaching industry. So it is a full discussion. You don't want to miss any of it. And I can't wait to share how you can get involved with the Glow Initiative and what they're up to in supporting women through coaching. If you're a coach or if you got $20 to spare, this is an organization that you want to get behind. So I hope you enjoy today's episode of the Spitfire podcast. And as a reminder, if you're not already subscribed, it's a great time to do so. We're on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, and you can go to our website, spitfirecoach.com/episode to catch up on all of our past episodes, as well as going to YouTube at Spitfire Coach. And you can see our new show, Please Don't Coach Me. So I hope you enjoy today's show.
I feel like when we look at Lean In as like an ethos, a brand, a concept, there is some continuity over time of this vibe of like, let's make this narrative a thing. This narrative that it's individual responsibility versus a structural reality. So, like, it's the woman's fault. She has chosen to lean out. She has
Mm-hmm.
chosen, okay, I can't have a career and motherhood at the same time. And so, in looking at how the data was reported by McKinsey and Lean In, it's like there's two sentences back to back. There's a gap, there's an ambition gap. However, when women receive the same support as men, that gap goes away, which means that that was a choice with language. They could
Mm-hmm.
just have easily had said, okay, we see this really interesting phenomenon. There is a gap in support. And because of this gap in support, this is the outcome.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just
Yeah,
sus. I was so sus
so
on that.
sus. I was so trying to read that report with a neutral lens,
Yeah.
but they did it to themselves in the first 3 pages. So it is. I'm so glad that you focused on like where is the system the problem and where is the individual
Yeah.
being blamed for this. And so we were just chatting before I started recording, and thank God I did because this is where the good stuff is. Who says you can't make friends on LinkedIn?
You can, 100%. We're living
You can.
proof.
So let's break it down. Last week, you posted about this women in the workplace, the 2025 report
Yeah.
that just came out from McKinsey. And what gems did you share?
I mean, my hot take about this was this top line of this 6% ambition gap between women and men, which was one of the McKinsey top lines, that this isn't really a thing. And not only is it not really a thing, it is really sketchy reporting, right? There was like an intentional choice to go for the clickbait,
Mm-hmm.
then to call the spade about the system when both pieces of data were available to them. And so the post was like, hey, their own data highlights that there is no ambition gap. Their own data highlights that when women receive the same support as men, their ambition to advance in their careers is equal, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, all things being equal, all things are equal. And that our lived experience as women, we also know we all have goals, right? There are things that we want to accomplish. I don't know about you, but I never reached a point in my career where I thought, no, thanks. I don't want any more salary. Like, it's cool. I'm fine with this amount. Like, that doesn't happen, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
all women have goals, all women have ambitions. They might look different by the women. So, it's not just their data, it's not just our lived experience, but I also see it in my work with the Glow Initiative. And so, the hot takes and the top lines from that post on LinkedIn was like, stop trying to shove this concept down our throats, which positions women as individually responsible for their lack of trajectory in their careers, when
Mm,
what we're actually talking about is a systems level, a structural barrier where one gender over the other, right, women over men, are not receiving equal access to opportunity, support, mentorship, sponsorship, or coaching.
mhm. Bam. And so I saw this and I immediately was like, I gotta say something. I need to be like, yes, and this. And so I have been waiting for, just a little opening of like, I'm waiting for someone to be like, you know what, it's women's fault why they're not successful. And I feel like when Sheryl Sandberg did the whole lean in thing, and people are like, yes, all we need to do is lean in the boardroom, and then all of the misogyny and glass ceiling issues are going to just fall away, fall away. And so they're trying to say like women are leaning out. And the reality of it is that Sheryl Sandberg and other people who are at that level in their company are playing the role of misogyny and the patriarchy. They are
Yeah.
trying to reinforce it, maybe not as consciously, but they are absolutely feeding into it. And so to say and flip it back to women, that, oh, you just need more ambition, it's you who's opting out, versus saying, what are the things that you're not getting, i.e., parental support, caregiver support, opportunities and sponsorship, um, even being hired or recruited in. And I was looking through it of like the recommendations, like everything made me want to cringe, especially the piece where
Yeah.
they're like, you need to train your managers to be coaches. I'm like, you absolutely should not do that. That is the worst thing you can do because it's so inappropriate. And I have a whole series called Please Don't Coach Me.
It
I'm not going to
is.
go down that tangent,
Yeah.
but I'm just like, this was written, like, I was like, did ChatGPT write this garbage? Because, sorry, because it had zero thought beyond the surface level regurgitation of all the crap we've been hearing for a decade plus.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, all facts, no printer. Like, I do not spot any lies, zero lies detected in what you just shared. And I think something that came up for me as you were just sharing is like, okay, so we're regurgitating these responses. We're regurgitating the same sort of narrative that's been coming out of Lean In. I have not followed the organizational trajectory because now there's a nonprofit and they do various things, et cetera, et cetera. But all those years ago, when it was hot off the presses, I read that book
Mm-hmm.
and I thought to myself, wow, maybe I'm the problem. Me
Yeah, I
in
thought the same
all
thing
of my
too.
meanness,
Yes.
And so like to look back and I recently this year I read the new memoir called Careless People by one of the Facebook whistleblowers.
Mm.
It's a memoir, right? It's a first person account and, for legal disclaimer, I think Meta has, whatever, they have their issues with it. But there were so many vignettes in the book in which the author is dealing with Sheryl Sandberg and the things that are going on in the book Lean In are just not the vibe that's actually, on the ground
Mm-hmm.
within the organization. And to say a little bit more on that, the author had, I think, two children in her tenure at Meta. One was an extremely traumatic birth in which she almost lost her life.
Mm-hmm.
And there was this expectation that she would be immediately available. And there
Mm-hmm.
was this sort of implicit expectation that if you had children and you were a mother, that your motherhood was hidden,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
That you shouldn't perform motherhood as an employee. You shouldn't say, oh, well, I have to log off early tonight because I need to pick up my kid. This was frowned upon. And how could that work? Most people were not earning Sheryl Sandberg money within the organization.
Mm-hmm.
Sheryl Sandberg, who had more than one nanny and
Mm-hmm.
circle of support for her children, such that she could show up in the workplace as if she had no parental duties, caregiver duties, etc. She could show up and simply choose not to center or even on the periphery talk about this other side of her life, right? And so it's odd to me that we're simultaneously positioning leaning out as a choice,
Hmm.
right? But also in the advice to lean back in, it's almost as if when you lean back in, you have to pretend as if you do not have children, as if you are not also a mother.
Hmm.
And that was really something that surprised me coming out of the book Careless People, because that wasn't the vibe that I got when I read Lean In. There's an authenticity gap that came
Hmm.
through for me between those two books. And it made this report, it left an even more bitter taste in my mouth after reading it. And I think that one of the main points of my post that we engaged around was that language matters.
Hmm.
Language absolutely matters. McKinsey said this was a new phenomenon. It's not new.
No.
This is not a 2025 phenomenon. We know that. It's almost ridiculous to say that out loud. It might be new in their data, but I doubt that as well.
Hmm.
I really doubt that as well. I mean, women have been experiencing a lack of support, inequity in what types of support, mentorship. McKinsey in previous reports has pointed out that there has been disparities in the type of mentorship that women receive. So, what is it with the language that they're doing here? This choice seems intentional, whether that's to obfuscate the structures or dodge the administration and the potential impacts of, stoking their ire, or whether it's, I mean, to toe closer to the line of like what Lean In as an ethos is doing. Either way, I mean, the data is still jumping out off the page that's
Hmm.
contradicting this
Right.
line. And so it's like, be impeccable with your word, be in integrity with the language that you choose, because while they're trying to get the clicks, and they did, it was successful all over LinkedIn in a society with social media that, I mean, companies make money when people are angry, when we're
True.
enraged, right? When people are
Mm.
enraged, there's more engagement, there's more time on platform,
We're
right?
talking about it right now.
Right? We're talking about it right now. When there's more time on platform, when there's more engagement, that is more eyeballs, more clicks, more advertising revenue.
Mm.
So that could very be, it could be just as simple as, hey, let's get them pissed.
Oh, I'm like, okay, I want to now change this conversation because I'm like, you're not going to win. Like, I want to just focus on the data and what we can do with the data and not their interpretation of what they want us to see.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. And let's talk about the Glow Initiative. We're putting you on this
Yeah.
side, McKinsey. You're done. We are gonna just be. We're not leaning
Bye.
either way. We're just here, okay?
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
first, share who you are, your story, and what you're up to with the Glow Initiative.
Thank you. I appreciate the space to share about it. I'm Santana Inniss. I'm a founder of the Glow Initiative, which is a social impact initiative on a mission to end barriers in access to professional coaching for women in need and the nonprofits that serve them. My background before coming into coaching was in digital strategy. I climbed the ladder. I experienced all the isms of often being the only, right, the only woman, the only woman of color, the only blah, 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 blah in spaces and places throughout my career. And that led to a burnout. There were glass ceilings, there were glass cliffs. And so as I was swept up in the great tech layoff of 2023, I really had to sit with myself and say, like, where can I have the greatest impact? Because I was trying to have impact within the structure and it didn't work. I tried it
Mm-hmm.
for a decade. The structure is structuring, right? And it's working as intended. That's a hill I'm willing
Mm.
to die on. It's working for who it's intended to work for. It's working how it's intended to work. And so I wanted to get outside of the structure and get outside of the system and see what kind of change I could affect from the outside. And so, 3 Women's Days ago, or 2 International Women's Days ago, I decided to just offer some free coaching, because what I saw when I entered the industry is that there is huge potential in the modality that's backed by research, not much, but we've got it. So we know that coaching is incredibly effective. We also know that the average cost of coaching in North America is 272 bucks an hour.
Mm-hmm.
We also know what minimum wage is.
Mm-hmm.
So this is inaccessible for most people. And then you add gender wage disparity, it becomes even more inaccessible for women. And so I was seeing so many women come through my own doors for discovery call sessions that could really benefit and were really interested and really yearning for the type of support that coaching could offer, but could not access it financially. And so when I put up that post for Women's Day, I said, does anybody, want to get some free coaching for Women's Day? You feel like you can't access it otherwise? Let me know. And the response was overwhelming. It was more than I could deal with myself. And so I started reaching out to the coaches in my community and my network. And I said, hey, if I manage everything, if I'm Oz, I'm behind the curtain. If I pull all the strings, manage the program, etc., and all you have to do is show up and coach, will you give me your time? Almost everyone I asked said yes. And so in that first year, we were able to match 97 women
Mm.
with professional coaches for the first many for the first time. About 82% that year was the first time they had ever received coaching. We raised over 200 hours in pro bono coaching to support women for Women's Day, and we worked with a nonprofit organization called the Women's Foundation of the South. After that, it just went gangbusters. So far, we have matched over 300 women with professional coaching. We've raised over 1,000 hours of pro bono time from professional coaches that are looking to serve women in need and the nonprofits that serve them. And the sky is the limit. And so, what do we see in the data, right? We're talking about data, we're talking about what is the solution to this lean in no direction.
Celine.
uh, what I'm seeing is that it's incredibly effective, right? There is the systems failure, there is an access failure, there is access to sponsorship, coaching, mentorship in general as a failure. And so, what we see with Glowy is that when you provide support to women, amazing things can happen. So, we have incredible survey data. Most of the women that reach out to receive free coaching through the initiative, 72%, in fact, in our longitudinal study, they reach out for career coaching.
Mm-hmm.
This is the vast majority. Glowy isn't per se a career coaching organization. It's a professional coaching organization. Not professional as in the women getting coached are professionals, but as in the coaches are accredited or certified, etc. They are professionals.
Mm-hmm.
So women every year get the opportunity to choose between up to 30 different coaching niches and modalities, but 72% are still looking for career coaching. So
Mm-hmm.
this shows that women are looking for this type of support. And when they get it, so 82% of our participants at 6 weeks report they have already implemented changes. That number increases to 100% at 6 months. And although 72% reach out for career coaching, 93% report benefits and concrete shifts in their careers as a result
Mm-hmm.
of the coaching that they receive. So the modality is incredibly effective. And this isn't to say that glowy, I'm a magician. I'm not a magician, but I am a systems thinker and a structure disruptor. And when you build systems that support women, the outcomes are predictable. It's
Mm-hmm.
not rocket science. It's about getting coaching to women that need it, regardless of the barriers that may be between them and this access, so that women can come out on the other side stronger, more resilient, moving forward, clearer, and better supported across the board.
Amazing. I just had this visualization as like glowy as the scaffolding to support the structure that's kind of not working for a lot of people, but it's there to make the improvements or to get a different vantage point of what needs to be improved.
100%. I think
Yeah.
that's a great analogy.
You feel free to use it. I'm passing it on.
Yoink.
Wink. So you're clearly seeing impact, creating impact. And I'm curious for you, like what's bigger picture, what's in the future for you and for Glowy as you're connecting, women with coaches and seeing all these initiatives in action and all the results. What's next?
Great question. And I think it's impossible to talk about what's next without talking about some of the gender differences in becoming a founder.
Let's dive
Right?
in.
Because they're in the space as well. So Glowy started as a grassroots, all volunteer initiative. And what's really interesting about the coaching space is it's almost like an upside down pyramid.
Mhm.
I stopped short of calling it a pyramid scheme, but there are some vibes there that might indicate there's a little bit of a
It's a little
pyramidal.
MLM-y, let's be real.
It's a little MLME. It's true, right? Everybody thinks of Mel Robbins and Tony Robbins and all the people, and all they have to do is get a certification and they'll be making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. Absolutely not. Most coaches who enter the industry do not stay in it past the first year.
Mhm.
I'm talking like an 80 to 90% drop off
Yep.
because there's very few places you can go to get a job as coach.
Yes.
So you have all these people that have just invested thousands of dollars
Tens of
and
thousands.
many times tens of thousands. Looking
Yes.
at you, coactive coaching, right?
Woo!
You
Snap.
have people dropping tens of thousands of dollars. And sometimes, I've seen them as short as, you can do a certification
The
in a
weekend.
weekend, or you can do a certification over 6 months or a year, right? I've
Hmm.
seen it all, but this is a significant amount of time
Hmm.
and it's a significant amount of money. And most coaches leave the industry before ever recouping the costs
Right.
to enter it, right? And so
Have,
what that means is that on the one hand, because we know that most coaches are women,
mhm.
on the one hand, I'm contributing to the solution, right?
Mhm.
Bringing benefit to women that don't have access while contributing to the problem on the other side.
Mm.
Women, coaches, volunteering their time, right? Labor being extracted,
Mm.
women who are also in need
Mhm.
because they're unable to sustain themselves in this career. So, what's next for Glowy? My vision for Glowy is that we are able to offer coaches living stipends, not a get rich quick, no Tony Robbins, no Mel Robbins here, but it offers a dual pathway. This is the vision. So that if you are one of the coaches sitting at the top of the pyramid and you're doing fine, I've met them, they're great.
Mhm.
You can still choose to volunteer your time. But if you're not doing so well, you can take the need-based stipend and it can make a meaningful contribution to your monthly expenses. And so to do that, I had to structure Glowy in a way that's really unique, which is not getting me a lot of fans or like people interested in doing venture capital or
Mm.
any of those types of things because it's operating on a for impact model versus a for profit model.
Mhm.
And so, what's the vision in 5 years? In 5 years, Glowy is operating as a joint agreement, nonprofit on one side. When we get grants, when we get sponsorships, when we get individual donations, we just go to nonprofits serving women and donate our services in kind.
Mhm.
Our coaches can still make like a meaningful stipend toward their living expenses if they need it. My time is compensated reasonably, and we're able to drive this impact. And then on the public benefit side, we have created a model that is effective and works and choose to focus on nonprofits and grant making organizations that serve women. And in that choice, we offer the complete coaching program, including impact reporting, program management, and the coaching for up to 75% below the market rate. So in 5 years, Glowy is affecting thousands of women per year instead of hundreds. We're self-sustaining. Coaches are able to receive a stipend and support. So it's a circular system
Mhm.
where everybody benefits, but no one's making it like no one's getting rich. And this is an interesting place to be because to me, it makes complete sense. And when I talk to coaches, they're like, oh, yeah, that's great. I love that.
Mhm.
Most coaches say they would continue volunteering with Glowy, regardless of whether they ever get a stipend, which we love, but some are in need. And I want to
Mhm.
be able to support them. And so we're in the middle. We're in the middle right now.
Mhm.
We have the infrastructure, we have the legal entities, and we're reproving a concept that has already been proven.
Mhm. I just want to say bravo to you because I mean, I've been coaching full time for 10 years. I'm a master
Wow.
certified coach. I believe in the power of coaching, and I also have seen some really bad actors, and I've seen a lot of people who have been taken under by being broke, but being sold a bill of goods, like, you know, you're going to become a six-figure coach. The prosperous coach was getting passed around like nobody's business. Do you remember that book?
Yes, I do.
Oh yeah,
Triggering.
cringe. But nobody was having these honest conversations of like, you know what? It takes time to build a practice, and it's also okay to get paid. Like, just because you want, I think a lot of people get into coaching because they want to help people. They really want, they see the good that they can create, but they forget like you still need to survive. You need
Yeah.
money too. And it's okay to ask for money. And so I'm so glad that you highlighted this because I see a lot of organizations pop up and say we need pro bono coaching. And I volunteered a lot of time. I did a whole series with recent grads who were having a hard time getting jobs, and they were, I mean, honestly, it was very, they really needed therapy more than coaching.
Yeah.
And I see a lot of groups kind of playing in that space. And I'm like, okay, so when do you become a bigger player? Like, it's great to give, but also you need to be paid. Like, your time and
Yeah.
energy, you need to be compensated, and coaches need to be compensated. And I see a lot of coaches also go like the better health or the platform route. And they told me how much they were making an hour. And I was like, that's not livable.
It was bonkers when I
Yes.
saw it.
Yeah.
I looked and part of like let's talk about it for a second. Like let's dive in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm really happy to throw shade at this. It's bonkers for coaches, and I assume it's equally as bonkers for therapists. I know less about that side. But as we've mentioned, some people are dropping tens of thousands of dollars just on certifications, not on
Mm-hmm.
accreditation,
Yep. You're
right?
not
So
even an
then,
ICF accredited coach at that point.
right? So then you need to go then do either 100, 500, or 1,000 hours of one-on-one coaching.
Yeah. Oh no, it's 2,500 hours now for
2,500,
MCC.
excuse me,
Yes.
for MCC, 2,500 for MCC. And you need to pay, I don't know, 500 bucks or so as a membership to the ICF, and then you need to pay another 3 or 400 to take the exam
Yep.
until you pass it, so maybe a couple of times, right? So you have
And
people,
mentor coaching.
oh, let's talk about that. Mentor coaching, right?
Mhm.
Which is also it's another couple $1,000s.
Yeah.
And so you have people investing thousands of hours and tens of thousands of dollars.
Mhm.
And because the industry is so broken, here comes BetterHelp. And they're like, we require PCC,
Mhm.
ACC, or MCC, and we'll pay you $20.
Oh, I thought it was 35.
The last time I saw
You saw
a
20.
job advertisement on LinkedIn, I think from BetterHelp, it was 20.
Wow.
It
I've
was
heard
20
between
bucks.
35 and 75.
I don't know what it's like once you're inside.
Yeah.
Maybe there's like a seniority thing.
Either
I don't
way, that's
know.
not that's you as a coach should not be doing more than 14 clients. So do the math and you're not making rent.
I mean, but think about it. $20 is minimum wage in California.
Yeah.
So you could rock up to In and Out
Mm-hmm.
and
Flip
get a
some
job in
burgers.
fast food, right? And make the same amount, at least starting, right? I don't know all of the ins and outs of their pricing, but the last time I saw a job posting on LinkedIn, it was 20 per session. And it's it's shocking.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
absolutely shocking. And I think a lot of coaches go for it out of desperation
Yeah.
because to get to that 14 client roster,
Hmm.
it can take people 2, 3, 4, 5 years
Yep. Yep. I was
to
one of
get
them.
there.
I was putting my rent on my credit card to get started, and I took on clients that I should never have touched. I mean, I didn't
Yeah.
physically touch them, but I should not have brought them on. But
Yeah.
the way that I grew my business was by becoming an ACC. I made the investment because I'm like, this is what I'm going to do. And I teamed up with people with existing businesses who said, we want you to coach under our umbrella. And it worked. But I am not the majority here.
Yeah.
I've run businesses since I was 12 years old. I have like an innate, like, I'm going to get this, I'm going to figure it out and I'm going to build relationships and I'm going to ask good questions and I'm going to keep showing up. But there's a lot of people who don't want to do that. And I think the lie that these coaching schools are telling them is all you have to do is get this piece of paper or get this certification. You put your sign up and people are going to be running through the door. You're going to have to
Yeah.
just push people away. And it is super scammy. And the flip side, you mentioned LinkedIn. I actually reported on this on my Please Don't Coach Me episode about the $300,000 coaching scam, where they're using LinkedIn jobs to say you can make anywhere from $180,000 to $300,000 as a coach.
Yeah.
All you have to do is now apply with our program, spend $75,000, and you're going to have to generate your own business. And by the way, you're also going to give us a commission for every person. They're like sales coaching positions. But
Yeah.
people are falling prey to this because they're desperate.
They're
And
desperate.
on a past show that we did with Lori Battaglia, she said she heard someone quote, it's not her quote, a broke coach does no one any favors
Mm.
because you are coming in with all of your scarcity, all of your fears. You're like, I
Yeah.
just need this. I just need you to stay with me. Like, so you're not fully present either.
Yeah.
So that's why
Yeah.
like this is such an important conversation and new way of thinking about how do you serve people who really benefit from coaching, but also how do you compensate fairly these coaches who are giving these services.
100%. Wow. I mean, I think it's so important to like call all of these spades. Whenever someone asks me now, oh, should I become a coach? I'm thinking about becoming a
I
coach.
tell them no.
I'm not bullish on it.
Hmm.
Because it's not, unfortunately, you're either falling for a scam, like you just mentioned, or you're going to BetterHelp, whatever, and you're making 20 bucks a session, or you're becoming a CMO, COO, CEO, LMNO, PQO, trying to build a business,
Hmm.
which most people are not equipped to do.
Hmm.
And I don't think that there is enough voice out there talking about the realities of how difficult it is
Hmm.
to become a coach and to sustain yourself,
Hmm.
right? And most coaches that I talk to, after about a year in, the light is a little bit out of their eyes.
Hmm.
And they're no longer talking about this like, oh, I'm going to make 6 figures as a coach. They're like, can I pay my bills?
Yeah.
Can I
Yep.
pay my rent? So we have to be having these conversations. And I hate to bite, I don't want to bite the ICF hand. Glowy won an honorable mention in the Coaching Impact Awards in 2025. So, like, not throwing shade, but like, as much as I love having an ethical framework, as much as I want there to be some overarching governing body
Hmm.
that can ensure the regularity of the education,
The standards.
the standards, right?
Hmm.
The ethical practices, that there's some sort of check and balance,
Yeah.
right? When folks apply to work with Glowy, I say this is the kind of experience we're looking for. At least a cert and 50 hours, right?
Hmm.
You've coached somebody, you've taken some ethical framework, you've taken some sort of education, and you've got at least 50 hours. It's a lot easier for me when it's ACC, PCC, or MCC because
Sure.
I know at least one human has heard you coach another person. I know at least one person has provided you feedback, has told you how they think you stack up next to the standards and ethics of coaching.
Hmm.
Whereas technically anyone can call themselves a coach on the internet, whether or not they've coached a single person at all ever. And so, as much as I love that, if I'm paying membership dues
Hmm.
on top of certification, accreditation, mentor coaching, supervision, whatever, my hope is that this is an organization that's out there doing lobbying,
Hmm.
heavy comms work,
Yep.
right? Before I became a coach, I worked in and for nonprofits for almost a decade.
Hmm.
So I know what membership organizations are supposed to do.
Yep.
I know what they do. And the fact that every coach has to explain to people what coaching is in their
Hmm.
discovery call sessions, has to explain what it's not, has
Hmm.
to explain the features and benefits of coaching. Where's my money going?
Right. Right. Even the studies, even their like state of the coaching industry study is gate kept under a pay to play. Like you have to pay to get access to that. So all of this data that they're collecting is not accessible. So it's all part of a similar machine of, you could call it capitalism or whatever. But I think ICF is, I'm going to say there's an attempt with scholarships. They're trying, but I think they could be doing a lot more. And where I kind of see this going is making coaching a regulated industry, similar to therapy or anything. But all that
Yeah.
does is increase the cost and the mode of entry.
And who's going to regulate it?
Right. I mean, the therapy
Right?
industry isn't very regulated either. Like it's
And they're struggling. There's a
right.
really interesting pipeline, like the coach to therapist pipeline and then the therapist to coach pipeline.
Correct.
Like things are flowing in both directions. I know a wonderful coach in my acquaintance who is really big into coach supervision. So
Mm-hmm.
like what happens beyond mentor coaching? Like how do you stay up to date and like continue skill building, etc. And he always says coaching is not therapy, but it can be therapeutic,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so I think there's this really interesting thing that happens where therapists responding to the challenges in their industry,
Mm-hmm.
which a lot of them are related to overregulation,
Yep.
they become coaches so that they can still kind of affect change and have a positive impact, but not be beholden to one state board or where can they do
Insurance
telehealth
companies.
and not insurance companies, etc. And then you also see coaches, I know an incredible coach that is getting a PhD
Hmm.
now because he just felt like he couldn't go far enough with the people
Hmm.
that he was seeing. And we see this in Glowy's data as well, and it gets me PhD curious too.
Hmm.
Only one person in all of our impact reporting answered the question, what was the reason you sought coaching with mental health support? Only one person said that.
Mm.
But 50% of engaged respondents reported mental health improvements
Hmm.
on the other side, even though they were not coached on mental health.
Mm.
They're reporting decreases in anxiety,
Hmm.
decreases in stress, decreases in depression related symptoms. Why? We don't know. I don't know. I
Mm.
don't know a study that looks at this. Is
Hmm.
it because it reduces stigma? Coaching does not have the same stigma as reaching out for mental health. The
Right.
populations that Glowy serves are women that are facing some kind of barrier,
Hmm.
right? It's either financial. We have seen women come through our doors that are escaping or experiencing or overcoming domestic violence, being unhoused, immigrants, refugees. So we have worked with really sensitive populations that may have additional barriers beyond financial to accessing support. And so here comes free coaching. 50% of engaged respondents are reporting mental health outcomes. What's going on there?
Hmm.
I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. I'm deeply curious about what's going on there, but how do we fix the holes in either of these industries? Because they
Hmm.
both have them.
Mm.
I think coaching is infrastructure.
Yep.
People have to have job opportunities.
Yeah.
They absolutely have to. I'm starting to see universities offer coaching programs. I know a person that got like a master's in organizational coaching through
Mm.
a renowned university, and on the other side of that program came out with PCC certification as a
Mhm.
component of the program.
Yep.
So this is growing in a big way.
Yep.
But where's that guy going to go get a job as a coach?
Right. Right.
Getting off soapbox.
There, believe me, I feel like my life, like I have amazing glutes because all I do is get on and off soapboxes in my life. Push from the heels. I mean, we could keep going, and I feel like we need to, because it's not just one issue. Like, it's not just corporations, it's not just government, it's not like, it is so layered. Like, it's not just patriarchal issues or misogyny or whatever, or racism, whatever. Like, it's everything everywhere all at once. And I don't know how the systems are fixed without there just kind of being a dismantling of it. And until there is something better, like a new gold standard of this is a better way, then we're just kind of going to be banging our head up against the wall in frustration. And so that's why
Yeah.
I love to hear what you're doing, and would love to be a part of it in whatever capacity, like soundboarding, coaching, whatever it is, because it is super important, for the betterment of everybody. And coaches shouldn't be broke. And you deserve to live a life that's comfortable while providing the benefits of coaching. And I don't even know how to wrap this up because it doesn't feel finished. So we're just gonna have like a raw edge on it, so we can hem it in
That's
whatever
okay.
position we want.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's real. I think the edges here are raw. And I think that the just the state of the world is really raw right
Mm-hmm.
now. And for me, as a person that's building infrastructure in the gender equity space, right? As a feminist leader of a feminist organization, right? I see out there that we are facing really significant challenges globally
Mm-hmm.
to the well-being of women in a way that you, I have not seen, since I was a very young child. I mean, we can think about what's happening in Afghanistan. We can think about the gender lens of what happens during a war and genocide, but we can also look in places like the United States where this war on diversity, equity, and inclusion is really attempting to remove territorial gains for women's equity and well-being and empowerment. But something that I say all the time is cede no ground. We are not in the business of begging people to please not take away the rights that we've already won, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're in the business of saying, come and take them,
Try me.
right? Try me. Fuck around and find out.
In the words of Sheree, who gonna check me, boo?
Who gonna check me, boo? Right? Because it's like, look, we would all have to be like, you know what? You're right. It's scary. We're not gonna fight. We're not gonna do anything in order for this to get to where it desires to go, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so when I say cede no ground, I don't mean just hold the line.
Mm-hmm.
We're also gaining territory. And I think that with a with an initiative like Glowy, like the Glow Initiative, what I'm trying to do is provide structure in a gap in the market that is unaddressed
Hmm.
from an impact lens and not from a capitalist, let me be just another company trying to capitalize on the fact that coaches are poor and struggling and desperate. Let me take a look at a sector, right? I'm focused exclusively on the nonprofit sector, and within that, nonprofits that are serving women. Why? We know across all kinds of studies, all kinds of multilateral organizations doing development work, that when you invest in women, you are not just investing in one person, you are investing in communities, children, ecosystems, generations, right? I like to think that if we all just say, hey, here's where I'm planting my flag, and here's how I want to contribute to the solution, that if everyone's planting a flag, eventually more territory is gained. This is just how I am looking at this challenge of gender equity and access to the modality of coaching as a vehicle for women's empowerment. There are other people out there doing other things. So whenever I get this question a lot, Santana, aren't you scared to start this organization in this climate?
Mm.
I mean, a little, but hold my beer.
And what?
I mean, I'm doing it anyway. First of
Right.
all, my self-coaching game is on point. Second of all, I think that moments that require courage
Do it
are
scared.
sometimes precisely
Yep.
the moment that we're called to service.
Hmm.
And so this is the time. When is the time? This is the time. The time
Hmm.
is now. And so the edge is raw. I don't know how fast Glowy is going to get to this goal of affecting change at a level of thousands of women per year versus the hundreds that we've been able to do in the last couple of years without any funding or any support. But like, hello, listener, what you got? Do you have a connection? Do you know someone at a foundation that serves women that's looking to bring in coaching? Are you a coach? Do you want to volunteer to be matched with a woman in need this upcoming International Women's Day? Like, there are so many ways that people can plug in. And although this edge is raw, it doesn't mean that nothing is happening here.
Hmm.
There's incredible things that are happening here. And it just takes us continuing to show up and continuing to push. We don't need the edge to be pretty and tidy and neat or sharp or whatever. It's sort of this idea of leaning in, leaning out versus just like, I'm standing here.
Hmm.
I'm standing here and I'm doing what I'm doing.
Hmm.
Come at me, bro.
Love it. I love the movement and the momentum you're creating. And I can't wait for our follow-up conversation because I'm going to plant that seed of like amazing shit happening and seeing funding pouring in, seeing coaches coming in and seeing that impact growing because the world needs it. Like this is such a great need. And usually I can sniff out bullshit. There's no bullshit here. I talk to a lot of people. I'm like, bullshit. But if people want to get involved, if they're like, I've got hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars, where do I send it to? Where can they check out the Glow Initiative?
Okay, so first of all, they can visit glowy.org. LinkedIn
How do you
DMs
spell
always
glowy?
open, gloi.org.
Love it.
Um, You can also visit our Give Butter, which is our donation platform of choice. It's linked from glowy.org, but I'll give you a link that you can put in the show notes for folks that are like, I don't have $1 million, but I got 20 bucks. We'll take
Hey.
it. It's helpful. If you're a coach that's listening, our coach interest form for the 2026 season is up and it's available. So you can go ahead and submit your interest in volunteering. We are looking to make a significant increase in 2026 in terms of the number of women matched with coaches. So my goal for the hours we're raising is 1,000 hours. You don't need to give me 1,000, but if you've got 3 or more to spare, we want you. So those are 3 ways that folks can immediately get connected. And if anyone wants to talk about investing in the public benefit side of Glowy or donating to the nonprofit side of Glowy, I'll leave my LinkedIn that you can include in the show notes as well in case someone wants to get in touch.
Amazing. Santana, thanks so much for this time and for all that you're doing. And you are welcome back anytime on the Spitfire podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're so welcome. And to all the Spitfires out there, y'all keep being awesome.